The View's Whoopi Goldberg has butt heads with her younger co-star, Alyssa Farah Griffin, on the morning show recently. Whoopi and Alyssa found themselves in a heated debate reflecting the disconnect between baby boomers and millennials. The morning show moderators' argument ensued during a hot topics discussion about the U.S. economy and how it affected the younger generations. People can't even buy homes in this economy, Alyssa, 34, asserted, earning a rather blunt response from the 69-year-old EGOT titleholder. "Listen, I'm sorry when I started out, I couldn't buy a home either," Whoopi exclaimed. Co-host Joy Behar, 81, chimed in that she couldn't buy a home when she was in her youth also. Whoopi added that homeownership wasn't the first thing to happen after someone enters the workforce. "You got to go out and get a job." She continued, "I know you're young," Whoopi said as she pointed to Alyssa, "but here's what it is. You work, and you can afford a house. And you can go and get one." Driving her point home, the original Color Purple actress reminded the former White House employee that the proud Republican lived in New York City, where no one could afford to live. Alyssa clarified that she wasn't speaking about herself since she works on The View, implying that she was speaking up for the many young Americans in that situation. Gone too far. The View fans clapped back on X, which used to be Twitter, at Whoopi for blaming the youth rather than the forces hindering them. "OMG, Whoopi is so out of touch. It's much harder than when she growing up," one critic tweeted. "All of them are millionaires at the table. They are out of touch with what's happening in the country. They are just paid Democrat operatives. #The View." The critic continued, "One thing about #Whoopi, she will behave like she knows it all. I'm tired of her view. I think it's time for #The View to move on from her." Another slammed, "Young people can't buy homes. I couldn't buy one either. OMG, Whoopi, shut the FK up. Whoopi sounds stupid and ignorant." Alyssa, the only one with some sense. #The View. A third fan added, "Yeah, I literally yelled at the TV." Alyssa was the only one making sense. A fourth complained, "Lol. I don't think Whoopi has worked, like actually worked on a movie set in like 2 decades or more. The View only takes like 4 hours to shoot and she sits down for 90% of that. They pay her millions, I believe, to give the youth a tongue-lashing apt laziness." Mad World. Just zip it. Whoopi had fans furious with her out-of-touch opinions in November also. During the episode, Whoopi and her co-hosts discussed why millennial people born between 1981 and 1996 hesitated to have children. The Sister Act actress said that soaring inflation, student debt, and limited room for advancement in the workplace has made people feel like they can't afford a home or start a family. Whoopi, who often gets called out for her controversial comment, said, "Every generation comes and wants to be better than their parents did. But I'm sorry, if you only want to work 4 hours, it's going to be harder for you to get a house." The comedian added angrily, "I feel for everybody that feels this, but I'm sorry, we busted our behinds. We had to bust our behinds because we didn't have the option of falling back." Alyssa tried to interrupt to explain the housing crisis, but Whoopi said over her, "We had all kinds of stuff." Alyssa replied, "It's true. But it says statistically millennials are the first generation likely to do worse off than their parents." Whoopi shot back, "You know what, that's what they said to us as well. Every generation is told, you're going to do worse than your parents. And you know what, people pick it up and they do what they do and they raise themselves. This is what you've got to do. It's called being a good citizen."